cruise news time, and let me tell you what, today's cruise news is great. There's a couple really big dominoes that have to fall over so that cruising can restart here in the United States, and one of the biggest ones, well, it just got knocked over. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Lido, Loca. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news. Let's do it like boxing today, the 1-2 punch. First, I'm going to hit you with the right, with the really big cruise news story. Then I'm going to follow up, boom, with the left, with how it fits into the cruise restart. Are you ready? Let's go. Look, I want you to be in my corner. I need you to cut my eye if it starts to swell up. The way that you do that is becoming a part of this virtual cruising community by going all 10 rounds with the subscribe button. Please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you don't miss out on any of these episodes. I need a ring man or woman. Come on. Thanks in advance. The big cruise news story. Crystal Cruises have announced the restart of cruising in North America. Let that sink in. Starting July the 3rd, Crystal Cruises will be sailing in North America with a legit cruise ship. I'm not just talking about a super yacht, nothing against a super yacht, but I'm talking about a 1,000-person cruise ship. The Crystal Serenity will be sailing from the Bahamas, and they're going to be doing itineraries around the Bahamas, leaving from Bimini, leaving from Nassau, and going to other ports in the Bahamas, that have never been visited by cruise ships. The Bahamas are opening up for cruise tourism in a way like it never has before, and people are jacked up excited. I tell you what, 70% of the economy in the Bahamas is based on tourism, and they have been in the hurt locker. They have been struggling like so many other places during this pandemic. I gotta hit you with this quote from the Minister of Tourism and Aviation in the Bahamas, Diencino de Aguilar. This is really going to be a quote that we could probably use as cruisers as we gear up for the restart of cruising in North America. This is a milestone achievement. After a year of uncertainty and despair of doubt, we will remember this moment. This may very well prove to be the tipping point for our citizens, for our tourism industry, and for our nation. The tipping point. Maybe this is it. We keep looking for signs, and I think this is as good of a sign as any. Now, you may be asking yourself, well, what about the health protocols? Remember, Crystal Cruises, one of the first larger cruise lines to announce a vaccination policy, mandatory vaccination on Crystal for their crew members and for their passengers. There is a testing requirement to get on a Crystal cruise. You have to provide a negative COVID test along with your proof of vaccination, and they have health protocols which still include social distancing and masking. And then to get into the Bahamas open for tourism, you have to show up with a negative COVID test that has to be taken 5 days before you go to the Bahamas. The way the Bahamas are tracking that testing and entry into the country is with their Bahamas Health Visa. That's something that you have to get. The Bahamas Health Visa verifies the results of your COVID test, and it also gets you to agree to things like wearing a mask when in public in the Bahamas. So that's the end of round one, and round one really is the foundation for round two, but I've got a little in between round entertainment. And it definitely applies. Let's talk about the poll I put up yesterday in the YouTube community tab. Another great reason to subscribe. That way you don't miss out on any of these polls. But I wanted to get a sense of how we're feeling out there when it comes to the restart of cruising in the United States. Do we feel like there will be cruises in 2021? The comments are kind of a mixed bag, so we put it to a poll. And here's the poll question, the poll options. How many ocean cruises will there be from U.S. ports in 2021? That is what I've asked. Okay, so here are the options. 0, zilch, nada, none. You get nothing. Good day, sir. Many of you correctly recognize that as a Willy Wonka quote, or at least part of it. The second option, 1 to 10 cruises. How about 11 to 50 cruises? How about 51 to 100 cruises? How about 100 plus cruises? Here are the results from the poll. The winner for people's idea of whether there will be cruising in 2021. 3,000 people have cast their vote. They say zilch. 29% of you say zilch. That is the most popular answer, 29%, followed by 1 to 10 cruises, 28% of the people, 11 to 50 cruises, 23% of the people, 51 to 100 cruises, 10% of the people, and 100 plus cruises, 10% of the people. Those two tied. And how interesting is that? The result came in from the least to the most. Like yeah, nothing switched places. So most people think 0, the least people think 100 plus, and it falls in line right in between. You very rarely see that in a poll. Interesting. If I would have voted, I didn't vote in the poll yesterday. I should go there and vote. My vote would have been 51 to 100 cruises. I really think we're going to start to see some cruises in June, more cruises in July, and then incrementally more as we progress through the rest of the year. I think we'll get close to that 100 cruise range, maybe even over the 100 cruise range. And I really think this Bahamas cruise news story is one of the reasons it's going to happen. So why is this important, and why am I so dang excited about it? Well, let's talk about the two biggest dominoes for the restart of cruising that have to fall before cruising can restart from the United States. The first one is the CDC. The CDC needs to give its next set of guidance to the cruise lines so that we can start test cruises. That is probably arguably the biggest domino that has to fall, but a close second is cruises from the United States need a foreign port to go to. We've seen this play out with Alaska. We've seen this play out around the idea of cruises to nowhere. The Passenger Vessel Services Act has the cruise lines handcuffed to a policy that makes it virtually impossible for cruises to happen from the United States. The cruise lines in the United States are faced with two really big problems, two complex problems. How do you get the approval from the CDC to go cruising? And then where do you go cruising to? Well, one of those problems have been answered. And the Bahamas might actually be the best answer to that question of where should we go from the United States, because we're not talking about just 1 or 2 cruise ports. We're talking about a lot of cruise ports. I mentioned it. Crystal, they're going to home port in Bimini. They're going to home port in Nassau, and then they're going to go to Harbor Island and Long Island and San Salvador. Like I said, places that cruise lines have never gone before, but there are a lot of places that are a part of the Bahamas that cruise lines have gone before. Tell me if you recognize some of these names. Castaway Key, Great Stirrup Key, Princess Key, Half Moon Key, Ocean Key, Coco Key. Starting to ring a bell? Those are the cruise line private islands. Carnival, Disney, Norwegian, Princess, Holland America, MSC, all with private island space in the Bahamas. This is huge. This is what we need. This is what we need for the cruise restart. We needed some place to go, and that is the Bahamas is it. How about that? I tell you, if I was an executive at a cruise line, I would be celebrating today. I would be calling the CEO from Crystal saying, hey man, thanks for getting this going on, because we will be able to leverage your strides there to get cruising restarted in the United States. The CDC continues to be the roadblock. We still need the green light from the CDC. That's all tied to what's going on with COVID in the United States. And fortunately, vaccinations are up. COVID cases are still trending down, a little more slow than they were previously. It's looking better. We got the guidance from the CDC this week that vaccinated people can hang out with each other in small groups without mask on, even hang out with people that just seem healthy, not even vaccinated people. Some crazy guidance coming from the CDC that seems to bode well for socializing. Cruising is a social activity. The Carnival CEO, Arnold Donald's been saying it during this whole past year that once socialization is given the green light again, so will cruising. And so we're getting close to that point. We're getting close to that tipping point, I believe. That is my opinion. And I do believe that the story coming out about the partnership between Crystal and the Bahamas is very, very good news for the restart of cruising, not just in the Caribbean, but for the restart of cruising from the United States. I didn't even touch on the fact that the UK is getting ready to open up for cruising in a couple months. I say by June, July, you're going to have cruises out of the UK. So a lot of positive momentum when it comes to the restart of cruising. Boom, or should I say the cruise news is down for the count. Help me up off the mat by hitting the like button and answering the question of the day. The question of the day is this: would you fly to the Bahamas to go on a Crystal cruise? And the second thing is, does this seem like good cruise news to you? I know sometimes I'm the only one that gets fired up about this, but what do you think? Is this the pathway to cruising resuming in the US now that we have a place to go? Leave a comment. Thank you so much for watching this show. Did you see my mea culpa about being a bad cruiser? I bet you're a bad cruiser too. Check out that video if you haven't seen it. This is Tony with Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.